Okay, I think that we are going live now. It is going to take a couple of minutes probably. Okay, so we are live. I can see that. Hi everyone, welcome to this meeting. In today's session, हम बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग चीजें बात करने वाले हैं. The core topic of this meeting is what really happens in the first year of MBA. So we have people from I'm Ahmedabad, we have Rishabh here, we have people from Bangalore, Kaustav, we have Mridul from Calcutta, from Lucknow, Vipul, we have Adesh from Mumbai, and Ditya from Sambalpur, and I am here from Raipur. सो आई गेस कि हमारे पास बहुत ही अच्छा एक स्पेक्ट्रम है फ्रॉम न्यू आईएम्स फ्रॉम ओल्ड आईएम्स फ्रॉम बेबी आईएम्स एंड एवरीवेयर ताकि हम एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कर सके what actually happens in the first year of MBA. So let's start with Rishabh. You tell me a little bit about कि first day कैसा रहा था आपका IIM अहमदाबाद के अंदर.
See, the first day of class was basically a mock case methodology practice because a lot of IIMs and especially Ahmedabad focuses a lot on the case methodology for almost every topic that they teach. And immediately a lot of assignments right from the first day gets bombarded to you. By the end of first 2 weeks, to surprise quiz, which is a very like very IMA thing, which happens almost like 7 or 8 times a month. And with all of that pressure, you start getting academically and academically burdened. And apart from that, there are a lot of other things that gets bombarded on you. For example, on the first day itself, you will see some people have already started talking about case competitions which are coming up, and so a lot of people come pretty well prepared for that. And then a lot of differences also happen because let's say I went in as an engineer, and the first class of FRA, which is financial analysis subject called FRA, it was a nightmare for me because I didn't even understand what is an asset and liability. I thought I am the only liability which is there in that class. So uh, I think some people come pretty well prepared in those circumstances. But if for someone like me, at least the non-quants, non-engineering type subjects felt quite hectic, especially in term one with all the other case comps and placement things going on. It was pretty hectic.
Hmm. So that means कि first year में first day पर ही case preparations were going on, case discussions were going on, and उसी same moment के ऊपर there was some surprise quizzes were happening. Same moment के ऊपर then again you are not from the finance background, तो FRA की class ने बैंड बजा दी साथ में. Correct.
Uh,
ठीक
FRA
है.
was a disaster. I remember getting a C in FRA. So
Oh,
वो तो हाँ.
ये मेरी भी कुछ similar कहानी है. I'll come to that. So Costa, what do you have to say about this?
Uh, Pretty much it's a similar experience. When we enter into IMB, it's the main differentiation which I will say is there are a lot of WorkX people, and already a lot of people already have a experience. Like me myself, have a 42 months of WorkX in marketing, so we have an edge in a lot of placements interview process, I would say. But similarly, there are CAs, other people also. So and on an average 25 to 26 months का age average होता है, and almost everyone has around 18 to 20 months of working. So they in their own field are pretty much expert, I would say. They are just ready to get their placements. The main problem does have with people who want to switch their domain, which is very difficult. I would say it's not something I would say easier to do, and it needs a lot of parallel preparation, I would say. Like most of the people want to switch to finance, they want to go into VC. So parallelly वो एक intern करते रहता है separately. They start doing CFA L1. Now CFA L1 इतना common हो चुका है कि CFA L1 सबके पास ही हो जाता है. So for fin companies, it becomes more difficult, like to how to differentiate. Why to take a L1 guy when I have a CA plus L1 plus even L2. So right now L2 is a new thing which people are going into. So that becomes a little difficult to switch. And for switching, I would say whoever comes on a mind of switching, they need to really work a lot on their parallel branch in which they want to go. Since it's an IM, it's you have the liberty of taking any elective you can. Like I can, even if I am in marketing, I can take finance and all. But it really doesn't add up to getting into the right company that you want to. For me, I always wanted to be in marketing, so I always had an edge to get into marketing. So that really helped. But people who wanted to switch into marketing really struggled, since marketing are a little more focused on the fresher aspect. So that was the main thing which we faced at the start of first term. Like everyone speaks a lot on SIP and all. सब resume prep चालू कर देते हैं जुलाई अगस्त से बाद, and everyone gets into that pressure that क्या करूँ. So that's where I think if you want to get really, if you are from that mindset that I want to switch, then you really have to take a different thing also with you. Like you have to parallelly work on few aspects.
Hmm. So if you are specifically looking for a switch from your one domain to another, जो
Hmm.
पहले किया था और जो बाद में करना है, तो काम तो अच्छे से करना पड़ेगा, मे बी डबल ट्रिपल थोड़ा सा करना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज everything is going to be new to you and the competition is so high, especially in the top IIMs, कि आप उस competition को cater करो कि एक नए domain को समझो, that becomes the big task.
Right.
Yeah. So Mridul, what was your experience?
So at C, I guess the first week is more about orientation. You get to know about subjects that you will be taught. You get to know about the faculty. There's a bit of informal interaction with your cohort as well. So people generally form their ties, their friendships in the first week itself. After first week, we have our classes as usual. But one thing that I would really like to point out is that there is definitely a gap between what is taught to us and once the recruiters come to the campus for placements or for SIP, their expectation is a bit different. So if you think that you are good at B school interviews, it may not directly translate into converting your dream roles, because I felt that way because uh, during my SIP season there were good marketing companies, but I felt myself lacking in some of the areas, specifically in marketing. So how the distribution works and everything, I was a bit nervous there. I couldn't gauge what they wanted to know about. So I feel if we dedicate this 1 month, or particularly the time wherein we have a opportunity to gauge onto the domains we like, we can probably maneuver ourselves in a way that helps us during the SIP season or during the finals.
Hmm.
So it's very important that you are not just like picking up subjects that is taught to you, but also how practically it will help you and how industry ready will that subject make you. So that is something
Hmm.
that you need to explore from now, and you need to push it by yourself only. That faculty may be helping you with some cases, but that does not directly translate into the converts that you are expecting.
Hmm, that's quite insightful. So, Vipul, do you think कि MBA में जाके जिस पेस पर पढ़ाया जाता है,
Mhm.
is that the pace that everyone can take up, or they should have some previous understanding of all those things?
I would say that again, for engineers quant heavy subjects, they
Hmm.
will have a breeze. But for a non-engineer, or particularly for people catering from psychology background or arts background in particular, they might
Hmm.
find it difficult, because for them the maths that is involved is a bit heavy.
Hmm.
It involves calculus as well. At
Correct, correct.
Calcutta specifically, we have a test, a quantitative test that we need to pass. If we don't pass, then we get an opportunity once again. But if we don't pass the second time, then our admission gets null. So
So,
that's
CAT
also a
exam
catch.
is not enough to get into IIM
Not
Calcutta.
enough, yeah. So for them, there is a
Hmm.
different litmus test. You need to come and give this specific quantitative test, and then you are eligible to sit at IIM Calcutta.
Acha. So, Vipul, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah. So first of all, congratulations everyone who has like cleared CAT, like cleared their dream B schools. So my biggest realization was that you feel special, that you are different while clearing your B school. But when you enter a B school, you see 500 people of your level and even better level of yours. Like there are finance specialists, there are specialists in operations. So you need to start early, I think, on the things that you don't know. Maybe finance, fund. I think finance is the most basic thing that you need to know in business. You become a consultant, you become an operations manager, you need to know finance. So that was one realization. And the other part, what people don't know. Um, So yes, there were some shortcomings in different individuals of different streams, and getting a basic understanding of everything initially like helps. At the pace in which B schools like the subjects are being taught, it's very hard in those 30 hours the teachers can build up from basics.
So that means कि थोड़ा basic understanding होना is always beneficial before you enter a B
Yes.
school. Correct.
Yes.
ठीक है. So let's move to Adesh. Adesh, so let's move ahead from academics and tell me your experience overall. How was your first week at IIM Mumbai? मतलब how was the day-to-day life over there? क्या किया, क्या नहीं किया, कितने दोस्त बनाए, all things.
Yeah, so hi everyone. Congratulations to everybody who's joining B School this year. For my experience, once I joined the B School, it was like, okay, I made it so far in life and I can just chill for a bit. But again, it was not far from the truth. I reached my college. It was so hot. It was in Bombay. It was early June, and then for the first week, we had the whole induction going on, and in that, my goal was to network with as many people as possible. Because one thing that I took, which was through my discussions with mentors from iQuanta back then also, was that you can't be master of everything. For example, I was good with economics and a little bit of marketing, but I knew that I can't do supply chain so well. I can't even do finance so well, maybe. So I made it sure that I connected with people on a more personal level, try to say hi to as many people as possible. So my first week was about networking, and secondly, it was about learning in the induction process. But honestly, now when I look back, I realize that the magic happens outside the classroom. Because in those 6 hours, 7 hours of lecture every day, you can't really understand, and you would not want to focus after a point because you realize that the faculty is not maybe at the same pace as yourself, or your friends are not focusing because they are more focused on case competitions, which is also, something that you need to prioritize very well. So in my case, I would just suggest that the first week was about one, talking to as many people as possible, and secondly seeing that, okay, where do I want to go, because I was in IIM Mumbai, which was the mecca of supply chain, and I have no background in that. So that was also a lot of ruckus with the fact that I come with 2 years of gap before I joined MBA and no work experience. So it was not very conventional profile that way. So, and I understand that most of you might come with such typical profiles where you feel that, okay, you stand out in not a very positive way. So in the first 1 week, or rather in the first fortnight, you have to make sure you maintain your calm, see how well you want to do and what you want to focus on, and don't just get overwhelmed with that, because you will have some time until your, say, SIPs. And a good start in my, now that I would tell you, would be to just prepare yourself with something beforehand, and so read a bit more about, say, case comms, SIP, some subjects like economics, marketing, supply chain, finance, and that should prepare you for your what is going to come in the 4 months of your first module.
So, Adesh, as you said, ki you had a gap of 2 years.
Yeah.
A lot of students who are preparing for CAT, they come to me and ask one typical question. कि मेरा gap year है, मेरा
Yeah.
MBA होगा कि नहीं होगा? तो
नहीं
what
हो
is your
जाएगा,
take on
हो
that?
जाएगा. See, I'll tell you. In my case, I was the good part was that the placement committee senior, which was our POC, was very nice and helpful. That's one odd thing that happened to me, and I would randomly go to him and rant about, okay, why am I not getting shortlist? मुझे कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा है. My friends are getting placed, and the fear is that I assumed that SIP season will start in September. Everybody will get placed in that 1 week. But then Godrej happened in, I think, July end or August beginning, and then since then people started getting placed. Godrej, JPMC, Accenture, a lot of consulting and finance company came in. And then that was a time where I was just helping my friends. So that once, in the hope that they will get in and they will help me in September. But until, say, September 19th, I got no shortlist. And that was my biggest fear from the very beginning. But then that is the catch where if you have, say, gap year of 2 years or more, could be a, obstacle in your placements. But if you are in a decent enough B school, you will definitely get some shortlist. And what you can do on your part, what you can control is to prepare so well for it that you crack your first or the first few shortlists. In my case, I tried to convert the first, which by God's grace happened. So in your case also, I would advise that prepare so well with, say, case studies, guesstimates, your domain knowledge about the company, about the role, that you are able to convert it. And that is very much possible. That's very likely because companies are coming, and if they see that potential, that gap is something which you can, say, compensate on. So it's not that bad as it might look from
Hmm,
outside.
cool. I think
Yeah.
that gives answer to a lot of questions that
Yeah.
people have been asking me.
Yeah,
सो
thank you.
दित्य, अभी हमने बात की कि आईएम में जाकर फर्स्ट वीक के अंदर नेटवर्किंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो डू यू थिंक कि नेटवर्किंग स्टार्ट्स ओनली आफ्टर एंटरिंग इनटू एन आईएम और इट स्टार्ट्स वे बिफोर दैट?
Oh no, obviously it starts way before that. Firstly, so whenever you convert your B school, there always is a unofficial group. Like there are some people who are very active, they make some unofficial group. Yeah, Divyam. So the conversation starts from there कि we got to know people कि कोई CA है, कोई अच्छे background से, कोई Amazon से work experience लेके आ रहा है, कोई Microsoft छोड़ के आ रहा है, and that is the time when FOMO gets you. Like उस पॉइंट से तुम्हें स्टार्ट हो जाता है कि नो आई एम नॉट दैट गुड, आई डोंट कम फ्रॉम अ गुड बैकग्राउंड, आई डोंट हैव वर्क एक्सपीरियंस. And after you get into MBA, you get a pile of books on your day one itself. And you will be like कि ये पूरा term one में इतनी सारी चीजें पढ़नी है. So it's like a huge transition. You will be sleep deprived. If I say my first week or first term in MBA, it will be sleep deprivation. Like
Oh.
we did not get any time to sleep. Again, coming back to networking and all, so yeah, it starts way early, and it's always good to have some hands on basic tools like Power BI thoda aa gaya, Canva, PowerPoint. Some basic tools are very necessary because once you get into your college, once you get into your curriculum, you will feel like कि हाँ ये मुझे lack हो रहा है. And if you start from the basic, it will be very harder for you to catch up. So yes, it's better to start early and network early. Obviously.
करेक्ट. सो जैसे अभी ऋषभ ने कहा था कि ही गॉट अ सी इन फाइनेंस एफआरए इन फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर. मेरा क्यूए में आया था सी क्वांट्स में. Because again, I am although from commerce background, but I had around 3 years of work ex before I joined IIM. तो again, तो उस time पर having that knowledge of standard deviation, variance, and all those things was way far from me. So I guess उस time पे C आया था, and I guess it is very important to tell everyone about the relative grading as well, which is there across the evaluation pattern. Because सी आने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि बस आपने खराब किया है. सी आने का मतलब ये है कि पूरी क्लास में से सिर्फ आप ही हो जिसने खराब किया है. ठीक है. तो ये चीज लोगों को समझनी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो गई है अब तो, कि had I known these things before, had I known how to use that scientific calculator before, I think that would have actually helped me out, and maybe वो एक सीन आया होता और मेरा जो ओवरऑल जीपीए है वो उस सेमेस्टर में और ज्यादा बढ़िया हो गया होता. एंड आई गेस कि दैट फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर और उस फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर का मिड सेम एग्जाम के अंदर जो मेरे 5 मार्क्स आए थे 20 में से, आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर दैट. उसके बाद मेरा जो क्वांट्स का डर बैठा था, मेरा QA 1 खराब गया, मेरा QA 2 खराब गया. उसके बाद जब OM आना शुरू हुआ, उसके अंदर जाके मैं थोड़ा सा यूट्यूब की हेल्प लेनी शुरू की कि मैं थोड़े से और बेसिक्स को समझना शुरू कर दूं, हाउ टू टेक केयर ऑफ दोस थिंग्स. नाउ हैड आई नोन दीज थिंग्स बिफोर, बहुत बेनिफिट होता. एंड कमिंग टू नेटवर्किंग वाला पार्ट, आई थिंक कि मे बी आई हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ नेचर दैट आई एम एन आउटगोइंग पर्सन एंड टॉक टू पीपल अ लॉट. जब हमारा अनऑफिशियल ग्रुप बना था, आई वॉज द वन हु वॉज द रीजन बिहाइंड अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल पुटिंग दैट ग्रुप ऑन म्यूट. ठीक है, क्योंकि अभी कॉलेज शुरू भी नहीं हुआ है, और जब भी वो देख रहे हैं ग्रुप पे 100 मैसेजेस आ रहे हैं, 200 मैसेजेस आ रहे हैं, और हर एक मैसेज के अंदर मेरा नाम तो है ही है. बट दैट टुक मी आउट ऑन सर्टन लेवल कि व्हेन आई वेंट टू द कॉलेज, आई डिडंट हैव टू गो टू एवरीवन एंड से हाय आई एम दिव्यम, हाय आई एम दिव्यम. ठीक है, हर कोई यार था तुम ही हो ना वो दिव्यम. तो आई गेस वो नेटवर्किंग जो है वहीं से शुरू हो जाती है. तो आई गेस ये तो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है. बाकी मेरे पास काफी सारे सवाल आते हैं ये कि what kind of certifications we should go before going into an MBA. It's good that a lot of people are thinking of a lot of certifications. So any one of you can just speak up कि कौन कौन सी certifications कर लेनी चाहिए MBA में आने से पहले.
See, I have seen personally some people who have done CFA 1, some, as I think someone was saying, but like apart from that, आप भले जितने भी certifications, whatever certifications you may do, it might be from maybe Udemy or Coursera, but I think end of the day, if you don't have the basic knowledge about the thing, it is not helpful. So like for example, uh, let's say अभी marketing में I don't know any specific sort of certification which happens because I didn't do it personally. But then if someone is interested in operations, let's say, उसके लिए there is a certification called Seven Sigma Green Belt certification or something. I don't remember the exact
Six
name,
Sigma.
but something on these lines.
Six Sigma.
तो yes, so ऐसे certification कुछ लोग करते हैं, but I think what is more important than certification is कि आप थोड़ा सा बेसिक नॉलेज लेके आओ. I'll just give a very simple example. अभी आपने साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेटर की बात किया था. I'll tell you about my case, फाइनेंस कैलकुलेटर. तो मुझे फर्स्ट टर्म में फाइनेंस कैलकुलेटर यूज करना नहीं आता. सेकेंड टर्म में आफ्टर गेटिंग अ सी इन फ्रा एक और सब्जेक्ट आया था एफएम, फाइनेंशियल मॉडलिंग. ठीक है, फाइनेंशियल मार्केट्स. तो उसमें व्हेन आई गॉट टू यूज दैट कैलकुलेटर फाइनली, टर्म वन में मेरे से नहीं हो पाया था. तो मैंने देखा जो आईआरआर और एनपीवी में लिख लिख के कैलकुलेट करता था वो एक बटन प्रेस करने से आता है. और उसमें इंस्ट्रक्शंस ऐसा होता था कि आप चाहे तो फाइनेंस कैलकुलेटर ला भी सकते हो या ना भी ला सकते हो. यू कैन ब्रिंग अ साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेटर और फाइनेंस कैलकुलेटर. तो इंजीनियर्स मेजोरिटी साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेटर ही लेके गए थे. और जो जिनको फाइनेंस कैलकुलेटर यूज करना आता था उन्होंने पेपर 10 मिनट में खत्म करके निकल गया और बाकी लोग 1 घंटे तक बैठे थे. तो दीज आर वेरी वेरी बेसिक थिंग्स जो आई थिंक कि आपको थोड़ा सा नॉलेज लेके जाना इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन डूइंग a lot of certifications. CFA L1 has its separate grade, वो मैं accept करता हूँ, despite कि अभी it has become more democratized, a lot of people have become CFA level 1, तो L2 L3 भी लोग कर रहे हैं, but still it has some value. Apart from that, I didn't find anyone in my batch who had a specific certificate जिसका बहुत high value था. CFA L1 is something I saw, and that operations का certificate it helped them in some companies.
आई गेस आई रिमेम्बर कि सिक्स सिग्मा की सर्टिफिकेशन, मी बीइंग फ्रॉम एकेडमिक कमेटी, मैंने पूरे बैच को करा दी थी. So, and at a very discounted cost again. So I guess ki clubs and committees hold a very important role when it comes to your B school journey. वो आपको ना सिर्फ PORs देती हैं, they also give you a lot of opportunities, they give you a lot of connections, and उनसे बहुत benefit मिल सकता है. For example, as I was saying that because I was the head of academic committee at IIM Raipur, I got to connect with so many people at so different levels, CEOs. I met the head HR of HUL and a lot of other people as well. And I got access to the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt at a very, very, very less cost. And I made it available to my whole batch for this. तो मेरे बैच में अराउंड आई गेस 380 लोग थे, उनमें से अप्रोक्सीमेटली 150 to 200 पीपल अवेल्ड दैट सिक्स सिग्मा सर्टिफिकेशन. एंड वो क्लब ये CNCs की वजह से ही बहुत सारे और सर्टिफिकेशंस भी आते रहते हैं. ऑपरेशन का सर्टिफिकेट हो गया, मार्केटिंग के हो गए, फाइनेंस के सर्टिफिकेशंस हो गए, बहुत सारा कुछ चलता ही रहता है इसके अंदर. तो अभी क्या है कि मेरे पास एक पूरी कम्युनिटी है जिसमें देर आर पीपल हु हैव क्रैक्ड बी स्कूल, दे आर अबाउट टू ज्वाइन, एंड दे आर कीन ऑन नोइंग अ लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स कि हमें बी स्कूल जाने से पहले क्या करना चाहिए. तो मैंने सुबह ऐसे ही एक पोल सा डाला था उन ग्रुप्स के अंदर कि आई एम गोइंग लाइव टू नाइट, तो व्हाट ऑल थिंग्स यू वुड वांट मी टू आंसर. तो one of them sent very good questions. I am just going to take out a question and maybe one or two people out of this panel can tell कि इसके बारे में क्या क्या है. So the first question was, what puts the top 10% apart from the rest? बहुत ही बढ़िया क्वेश्चन कि टॉप 10% कैसे दूसरों से अलग हो सकते हैं, एंड इफ यू वांट टू बी अपार्ट फ्रॉम दोस, व्हाट यू शुड डू. एनीवन?
Okay, I can take this question. So,
Yeah.
when we are seeing the top 10%, we have to see from two time frames in my, according to me, which is one for the SIP, one for the final placements. See, for the SIPs, you can't really change a lot in terms of what your profile already is. You already have your or the lack of it in place. You already have your grades from your 10th, 12th, and graduation, and you have whatever skills you own up so far. So for SIPs, you might want to say move the world because you see other people having better profiles. You see, all these dream companies coming for placements and you want to sit for them, join them. But that can't happen, immediately. So for that, what you can do is prepare as much as possible for the company, do your academics well, but you really can't do a lot for your SIPs because live projects, case competitions, both of these things will follow in the process. So you're not certain about the results until say your August or September or October. But if you want to fall in the top 10% for your finals, it is very much possible. And that is what you should also aspire for. is again, if you say for example have no work ex like me, and if you don't come from a great graduation college, then in that case you want to ace case competitions and you want to ace some live projects and clubs and committees or academics. So these 4 5 pillars are there. Out of these 4 5, if you can even put two in place, for example, if you are not good with academics and you know that, then you can join a very good club and committee, as well as try to say put your case competitions at an edge wherein you crack some of the top ones in the country, and that would one directly give you those PPIs, PPOs opportunities, look great on your CV, on your LinkedIn, and will get you a lot of shortlists in place. And similarly for your live projects, can become a source of additional income as well as look good on your CV. So once you master two to three things of these 4 to 5 things, I think you would be able to do that, because as much as you would want to know that people work so much, but their work is usually scattered. They just start doing what other people are doing. They will do random certifications, join some random club, run after faculties for for academic live projects. Rather, what you should target is industrial live projects or corporate live projects. So in this case, you should realize that for SIPs, all said and done, you can't maybe do a lot, and that is not something you should aspire to because it will be a lot of pressure. But for your finals, put case comps, live projects, academics, or clubs and committees, two of these three, four things at place, and I think you should be sorted. It's not that difficult, I guess.
I think it is quite well put. You talked about industrial life projects. It is actually very good thing to do. It is, I would say, a gold mine. How many of you did industrial life projects in your IIMs? किसी ने किए? So I did one. It was with a Canadian company by the name of Matrix, and I was working as a strategic business consultant. So their work was that in Canada, a lot of companies want to enter through startup visa process. So my work there was to evaluate their job idea, develop the job idea, evaluate their business idea, develop that business idea, understand the market space of Canada specifically, if this business would actually work or not, find the blue ocean, create the differentiation, do the financial modeling for next 5 years, and create a pitch deck for the investors out there. And I did this for approximately 20 to 25 companies over the course of 2 years. And not only was it a very good earning source for me, definitely it was, but the kind of knowledge that it gave me. I was doing market research. I was doing TAMS and SOM analysis. I was making pricing decisions. I was making product decisions. I was making pitch decks for the investors. I was doing competitive analysis and everything. And that too was for different sectors, different industries in a foreign country, sitting right here in India. And so when I talk about this thing to other people, when I talk about this thing in my interviews, I think that was one of the most selling point that I had, which actually kept me par from the rest of the batch which was out there. So I think industrial life projects is something which is very good opportunity that you should take. So the next question was ki, they want to know what is the CV verification process, if it could be explained in detail, because a lot of people are देखो कितनी files आई हैं.
Let
So
me
CV
say,
verification
I
process.
think thoda sa it will vary. First of all, places to
हाँ,
some IIMs to IIMs, but
हाँ,
I'll say a bit about IIM Ahmedabad's process because I think it is one of the most rigorous CV verification process which happens across IIMs. So,
हम्म,
placement committee जो होता है generally in IIMs, your senior placement committee do the CV verification process when you are in first year. It's not the same batch doing it because otherwise conflict of interest cases come into play. ठीक है? That's the first thing. Secondly, for CV verification, everything you need to submit some amount of proof. Now, the level of proof for based on which that gets approved might vary based on the kind of stringency your placement committee brings in for that specific area. For example, uh, in our case, for any point you have to write about your work experience. Even the keywords also matter. जैसे कि अगर if your manager has approved that you led a team of 5 people for this project and achieved something, then you cannot write pioneered a team of 5 people because apparently both words have different level of weightages. Okay, so that is first thing. Secondly, for everything that you have done, even if it is a very small certification, at least have some amount of proof attached with it. And for most of the things, like maybe your CAT percentile or your JEE mains rank or any other competitive examination that you have given, proofs are available across the websites which are there. One thing which also helps a lot of people, it helped a lot of people in our batch, is filing RTIs. So there are some cases, for example, if there is something you have done maybe 10 years back and documentation doesn't exist. For example, one of my friends had a state rank and he was from my state only, West Bengal board, but 2013, in that time state ranks were not given in the form of certificate, and his state rank was 11th. So till 10th rank certificates used to be given. Okay. So there was no proof, but he filed a RTI, and within usually 7 to 14 days, RTI reply came. So even RTI can help you in these sort of cases. Apart from that, for freshers, CV point verification may generally there's a deadline that is given that till this date, whatever you do afresh will go on your CV. For example, college may a lot of clubs and maybe some corporates will organize case competitions. A lot of non-academic type things also happen, like debates, quizzes. So if you, let's say, if you want to write that you became first in this debate or you got a second position in some case competition, you have to get those points approved by those specific committees, and then the placement committee, whoever is your assigned place comma, usually approves the same points, and post that you generally make a master CV, and based on the master CV you usually make few more variants of your CVs which you actually send to the recruiter. So people generally, after getting all sorts of points approved, uh, as they say, like, again, these could be corporate myths as well, but at least that's what we hear when we are in college, that for a marketing CV, they want your profile to be more dynamic. When you are in a applying for a gen man role, might be they are looking more at whether you have an overall balanced profile, whether you did some social work, maybe how strong your extracurriculars are. And in case of a finance CV, your academics actually might be mattering more, and everything else becomes kind of not so important. So even the in after the CV verification is done, how you make the CVs, like whether you put the extracurricular section first or whether you put your academic section first, or if you have work ex, whether you put that first, how do you arrange your points? All of this is a pretty hectic process which goes on parallelly with a very hectic term one in every IIMs. So this is, I think, overall it, at least from my experience. Maybe others can share. This is a question which can be continued for a very long time.
Yes. So anything else that you guys want to add to what Rishabh said, or was it almost similar to what he had?
I'll just want to add one more thing, which is that in at least in my college, I am Mumbai, the case was that we were first required to make a batch profile, a BP of sorts first. And for that, the deadline was 1 month before your CV thing. So tentatively by July end, we were supposed to make a BP, which is a more exhaustive, more comprehensive information about our profile. So this will, require more detailed stuff, everything almost. And for that, we'll need a verification. Now, for verification, there are only three ways in our college. One is could be a mail from the respected authority. Second could be a certificate, and third could be a letterhead. Nothing else apart from these, right? So that was a BP, and now similar thing would happen for CV 1 month later. CV again was a very rigid format. We had this platform Skynet where we have to upload only so many characters, and then in that case the verification was again through one of these three ways only, nothing else. So the BP and CV, and that was it. And these things could change basis, whatever companies we are getting, which we've already covered. The different types of CVs, basis marketing, Genman or finance. That is that.
So I guess we also had in first year Reculta was there, and next year में we had Superset जिससे हमारे बने थे. I guess my one thing which I want to add in this part is कि काफी सारी achievements होते हैं which you did at your school or college times, which either they give you medal for that and not a certificate. And कभी कभी लगता है कि तुम बी स्कूल में आ रहे हो तो स्कूल के कोई वो मेडल्स तो खनखनाते हुए तो नहीं लेके जाओगे. So उस टाइम पे what I did was I reached out to my supervisor or principal who was there in the school, and I reached out to the principal of my college, the UG college, because उस time पे मेरे पास certificates नहीं थे. And I still remember it was around 9 o'clock. I called, and that principal's son picked up the phone, and उन्होंने बोला कि मैम तो बाहर गए हैं वॉक पे, तो मैं कहा जब आएंगे कॉल कराना, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो रात को 10:30-11 बजे द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ अ यूजी कॉलेज कॉल्ड मी, एंड आई सेड मैम प्लीज अभी के अभी मेल करो, मेरी डेडलाइन है. और हमें तो डेडलाइन भी मिलती है आई गेस 2 या 3 दिन की शायद, तो या ऑलमोस्ट 1 हफ्ते की। और आदत तो वही है लास्ट मोमेंट पे काम करने की। तो वही किया था। तो रात को अराउंड 11-12 बजे के आसपास आई गॉट द फाइनल मेल अबाउट दीज थिंग्स, एंड व्हाट ऋषभ वाज सेइंग कि वर्ड टू वर्ड इट शुड बी सेम। आई गेस इन रायपुर एटलीस्ट थोड़ा सा लीवे इसके अंदर ये था कि जहां पे भी यू आर मेंशनिंग द नंबर्स, you should have the proof of those numbers either in any kind of written format. बाकी in words whatever you're writing it's okay, numbers तुम्हारे सही होने चाहिए, positions PORs वगैरह वो सारी चीजें थी। तो was is there anything else that anyone wants to add on this, or we can move on to the next question?
I have one more.
Hmm.
Specifically for Calcutta, we are very stringent on PORs. So if you are some president, then you have to get approved from a senior level. So who is any faculty who is also heading the club or is actually supervising the club, and from one junior position as well. You like there is a hierarchy that needs to be followed. Only then your POR gets approved. So we are
Hmm.
very stringent for PORs. And for academics, I guess, yes, if you have certificates, or you can, if the portal, suppose you have given a competitive examination and the portal is still active, you can always log in and have the
Hmm.
live proof ready with you.
Correct.
That
So
is
Mira,
there.
next question was about PORs only. How does one get into the POR of choice? Is it elections among the student body or senior representatives and faculty pick the juniors? Details needed for different PORs like place com number, club leaders, etc. etc. So again, we might think it is very common for us कि हाँ किसमें election होता है, किसमें senior select करते हैं, किसमें faculty select करते हैं. Maybe a lot of students who are going to join right now have a big curiosity कि इसमें होता क्या है, CNCs वगैरह में कैसे आते हैं. तो आई गेस सबका ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर प्रोसेस ही रहता है, बट लेट्स से दित्य इफ यू कैन जस्ट थ्रो सम लाइट अपॉन कि संबलपुर में किस तरह की रिक्रूटमेंट्स वगैरह होती थी सीएनसीज के लिए.
So actually, I was the head of industry relations committee. So in Sambalpur, everything was largely student run. So as you mentioned in question ki faculty choose karti thi ya kaun choose karta tha, so it was minimal faculty interaction, at least in our campus. So what used to happen, like seniors used to take so many rounds of from the for the selection process. So for industry relations committee, it was 12 round. So for the first 10 rounds, it was a selection process, and the last 2 rounds were the election. So I can say like for some committees it is selection plus election, for some club and committee it is just selection process. So basically seniors judge you on the basis of your communication skills, your creativity, like consistency, how well you can handle a responsibility, how well you can handle a situation. They take your GDs, they take GD stands for group discussions, they take extempors, they test your creatives, they test your interview skills as well. So they test so many things throughout these 10 12 rounds, and you just have to, like, you don't have to ace every round, but you just have to be a yes person, a very interactive or a very proactive person, I would say, so that you can be part of every round. You do every round very actively, and like don't just give up in between the process, because I have been seeing so many people, like when they hear about कि यार 10-12 राउंड हो रहे हैं, नहीं नहीं हो गया अब मेरा, बिकॉज द राउंड्स हैपन थ्रू आउट द नाइट, क्योंकि दिन में टाइम नहीं मिलता है, दिन में यू हैव क्लासेस, so the rounds happen throughout the night and you have to stay awake. So people do give up कि नहीं हो गया अब नहीं हो पा रहा, because you transition from a certain lifestyle to a certain lifestyle. So yeah, so don't
Hmm.
just give up, be a yes person, be very proactive, क्योंकि there will be a time when कि कोई group project हो या group assignment हो, people won't show up even. So you have to be the one who will take up the entire thing, entire group forward. So yes, just
So
don't give
let
up,
me,
do everything. Yeah.
yeah, so let me ask a controversial question to everyone. किन किन के सीएनसी रिक्रूटमेंट के अंदर पोचिंग हुई है अच्छी खासी?
सब में होता है.
To an extent, हाँ.
To an extent.
I remember one of our professors, whom I'll of course not name, who
Hmm.
said one thing, and well, it's not only true in the clubs and committees and everywhere, but across life, that no process is fair. It must look objectively fair. Numbers are there to hide subjectivity, not to make things objectively fair. So as long as things look objectively fair, they are correct. You cannot cry in life. ठीक है.
Hmm.
So this is a very famous HRM professor of our campus. Okay, so so I'll tell you one thing. When it comes to PORs, there are two kind of PORs in all campuses. One are the elected PORs, and the other is the selected PORs.
Selected
Okay,
POs.
so for elected PORs, you're going into an election. If your batchmate select you, you are there. If it's not, that's in a way a little more fair that you at least are democratically elected or not elected into that position. Okay, but after that there are a lot of positions. For example, in our case, uh, we have a election for student council. Then the student council announces elections for career secretary, alumni secretary, and under the career secretary, all the career clubs comes. Once the career secretary is elected, he will extend out the nominations for all the career clubs. Now that will include the consult club, the finance club, operations club, marketing club, every sort of club. And then interviews are taken by the career secretary and one member of the student elected student council. Okay. So this is the two people are there to cut out biases if possible. But then you're selected for all the selected PORs. Mostly there are also cases of your batchmates or your seniors interviewing you. And in IMA, at least this the rule in a way is set. Again, throwing light on what the professor said, system should look objectively fair. That elected POR holders take these interviews so that if some allegation later comes up, the entire student body is accountable because they elected that person who then did the rest of the selection process.
Hmm.
So everything works like a system. So within the system, you as Ditya was mentioning, all of this is basically happening beyond the basic core of academics and placements for which people are there at the IIM. So a
Hmm.
lot of patience is required at times, but yes, end of the day, every college will have around 50 to 80 POR positions, depending on the batch size. So that will be roughly 20 to 25% of your entire batch will have internal college PORs itself, at least. So there is good scope, not that there is the scope is limited, but yes, just like any organization, there will be politics and there will be certain level of unfairness, which you will, I can say it very honestly, which you will be honest. And I seriously love the quote of my professor that when a student approached him that sir, मेरे को ये क्लब के इंटरव्यू में 5 out of 5 दिखा रहा है और उस सॉरी 5 out of 10 दिया है और उसको 8 out of 10 दिया है और मैंने उससे बेटर इंटरव्यू दिया है, then sir said a very brilliant thing. Numbers are there to hide subjectivity. They are not there to make things objectively fair. So वो याद रखना, थोड़ा सा पेशेंस रखना, but overall things go good.
Hmm. Actually, it's quite an interesting quote. कि numbers are there to hide the subjectivity. Because again, इसी में ही सब खेलना होता है. This is more like a, I would say, a gray area, which is, you can say, it's neither bad nor good. It might not be good, but there's nothing to prove it. So that it is there. So yes, well, okay, everyone who's watching this live stream or who will be watching this recorded session later on, understand that there would be certain level of unfairness which would be happening in your CNC recruitment. Sometimes you would also feel that there is unfairness in terms of SIP and FP as well, because कभी कभी you will assume कि placements वालों को कुछ benefit मिल रहा है या कुछ ऐसे मिल रहा है, तो that can happen. However, being prepared right from the beginning is something which is going to help out, as we highlighted right now only, कि these all things are happening while your academics are going on. ठीक है. अब अगर तुम दिन में एकेडमिक्स कर रहे हो, रात में तुम सीएनसी रिक्रूटमेंट कर रहे हो, शाम में तुम सीवी की वेरिफिकेशन कर रहे हो, तुमने उसके बाद नेटवर्किंग भी करनी है बिकॉज इट इज ऑल्सो गोइंग टू बी इंपॉर्टेंट. यू आर लिटरली अप थ्रू आउट द डे एंड थ्रू आउट द नाइट फॉर मे बी 48 hours and 50 hours, which I think we all have been at least once in 2 years, right? So I would now propose a little. Let's come to the closure of this session and let's have a little closing remarks upon key. First year में everything is going to happen. The hell is going to break loose on you. What are the core things that you should know, that you should learn before entering a B school? Let's start with you, Kaustubh.
So we have a rule at IMB that at one time you have to do five things, and one of the things is sleep. After out of the five, so the whole thumb rule is about prioritizing. Everyone knows you can't do the five things at a time. You have to prioritize and do the three things. It may be sleep. If you can't sleep, then you have to sacrifice the sleep and do the three. The three can be sports, be sports, academics, and then clubs. Someone can take another combination also: sports, academics, clubs, academics, and maybe case comps. So a lot of case comps also come up at this point of time, like around at the start of June. H will come, TAS will come, and then people have to work a lot on case comps also in terms of getting the first type of SIP. And so with academics, something is no one leaves. So in terms of maintaining that like the health of your mind also and physic also, I would say that take a time out. Uh, take at Have a slot of 10 to 20 minutes where you can walk, where you can chit chat with friends, and really the friends becomes a lot of strength to you. I will say for the first three terms, everyone around you is your strength. So even we have a breakthrough Bangalore thing where this has been taught to us that you are each other's strength. And that's where I will say the network. Beyond network, relations matter a lot in order to keep yourself healthy from mind and physical health also. That because these are the friends who will drag you out for playing something. They will help you reduce the stress, because as I said, you have to do five things at a time at any point in time for the first three term for sure. And this is how I maintained my like health overall. I had great friends, and the point of being in Bangalore is like everyone likes to take a chill pill sometimes. Like, okay, it's fine. Everything is very hectic, but we can take out time and let's have a walk. So that is something I'll also suggest. Have a great relations. As I said, Ditya and Divyam also mentioned that your network becomes your key strength throughout your IM journey. And prioritize. This is the first two short points that I will say. Prioritize and have great network, and that will help you.
All right, thank you. Thanks a lot. Vipul, what do you have to give as your closing remarks here?
Yeah, so joining I am this is a great point that have good friends. So there have been times that I've learned more from my friends and friend group than from the professors. So they are of great like help. Have a good friend circle, and health is also an important thing. So our professor told us that for the first year, don't get ill. That is your first problem at IM, because you won't be sleeping for 2 days, 3 days at a time. And one more thing that I had in mind is be informed. Don't just sit back and think that uh, some points will come and I'll then act. Be pre-informed, because there will be people competing with you at a much larger scale. So be informed and be prepared.
Hmm. Thank you, Vipul. Adesh, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, so from my experience, the closure would be that for the first say 1 week, fortnight, you'll be like, okay, there's so much on the plate. But with time, you have to realize that all this randomness is very structured when you look at it from the bigger lens like that. Because you join the college, the first thing and the only thing that you should focus on is your SIP. Once that is sorted, at least in my college, the timeline was such that the CNC, the clubs and committees happened only after the SIPs happened for most of the people. So you don't have to, you join the college, you don't have to think that, okay, CNC nahi ho raha hai, or you're not bonding well with, say, alumni committee seniors or placement committee seniors. It's fine. You don't have to do that. So once you join the college, focus on SIPs. Once that is in place, you focus on your clubs and committees. In the same time, try to, if you don't get, unfortunately, into any of these clubs and committees, then you can focus on live projects. If that doesn't fall in place, you are going to join your summers in April and May, focus on their PPO. If unfortunately that doesn't fall in place, you have your finals in place that you can put your best effort to. So when you see it like that, you will always have the next opportunity to fall back on. Not to not for you to think that, okay, you won't give your best this time, but make sure you are trying to avoid that randomness. You're trying to prioritize what, as also Costa mentioned, you're trying to prioritize things as they come and not just get bogged down by everything at once. Because you have to realize it's your last 2 years of having a relatively relaxed life, which is not something people would like to believe, but that is the case. You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to have have the best parties of your life in your MBA. So make sure you also cherish that and go ahead with a better memory and happier memory like that with your friends, with your faculties. Try to bond up like that and not just think about work every time. that will fall in place eventually if you are like, you have your integrity in place, I'll say.
Cool, cool. Thanks, Adesh. Mridul, what would be your closing remarks?
I would say that don't fixate on a particular domain. You may find that you were obsessed with finance first, but then once you encounter what accounting is, what corporate finance is, and then you realize, oh my god, at the look of it, it is all glories. Investment banking is the hot need of the hour, but it's not the way. You will first of all try to explore each of the domains. In the meantime, once you get to the B school, you won't really have breathing space. So right now is it's the best time to explore all the domains, and probably the best way to look out which domain suits you is via trial and error. Go for internships, go for live projects. These are better than certifications in my opinion, and this would definitely add to your CV as well. And for recruiters, I think they are very risk averse in the sense that certifications don't really entice them. Whatever entices them is the ground level work that you have done, particularly affiliated with some company that has a brand name. It adds on to your CV. So also there are many companies that have their pre-B school kind of programs running. So there is Invictas, which is particularly if you want to go to TAS, this is one of those competitions. Similar programs are being run by Colgate. So people should follow up on their LinkedIn pages or particularly other communities like Inside IM and other are there. So from there you can get to know more about which company is trying to promote its program, and these programs are specifically helpful from the perspective of SIPs. So you can land a PPO even before your placement or your actual uh, placement process. The interview days happen, so you can get placed before that. So it's a good opportunity.
Cool, cool. Thanks, Mridul. Ditya, if you can just give your remarks.
So the only thing that I would say, like everyone has pretty much covered everything. The only thing that I would say is like don't fear change, because I am a 2025 pass out. I have seen these 2 years. It is a roller coaster ride. It is a capsule course, and you won't even realize what a lot has changed in these few months. So just don't fear change. Your friends will change. Everything will. Your circle will change. Everything will change. So just don't fear change. Accept everything what comes your way. All the very best.
Let's come to you, Rishabh.
I'll again quote one very famous professor, Professor Sarul Mukherjee, who also happens to be from the same UG alma mater I'm from. He used to say that to maintain your cash flow in life, you have to also focus on cash, starting with K, knowledge, aptitude, skills, and habits. So before you go into any IIM or any academic program, since this is a postgraduate program, have some basic amount of knowledge about certain domains where you want to venture. For example, you might be a clear no that no, I don't want to go into finance, but don't also be like, मेरे को marketing ही जाना है. You never know what will happen on the cluster day or whatever placement process is followed at the IIMs. Uh, be street smart to the largest extent possible. Be street smart and develop some skills where you will be confident that you are the top 10%. Someone was asking that about the top 10% of the batch. I think there was no exact top 10% of the batch, but there were domains in which there were top 10% of the batch. For example, there were these 20 people जिनको भाई finance का सब कुछ आता है. There are these 10 people जो marketing का एकदम ही expert है. ठीक है. So these are the kind of some people you will find, but most people you will see are jack of all trades kind of people, uh, and develop some habits. Like, I think except if you are extremely introverted and that gives you mental peace, that is a different thing. Otherwise, try to bond with people, because people and their experiences and sometimes trauma bonding can also help you guys to release some sort of stress. Don't just fixate yourself into your own hostel room and just watch Netflix when you are down. Because this is I had a fellow general secretary in the student committee who used to tell a beautiful thing whenever we used to discuss like how, because there's extreme academic pressure, how you can bring people together. he used to say the fight is against not the academics here, it's against Netflix and Amazon. People are staying alone, and that is building even more stress. So try to talk with people, make friends, make a community, have some fun. And as Adesh was saying, end of the day, despite all the stress and initial levels of pressure, this is also going to be two of the best years of your life when it comes to bonding. Not so much for parties when it comes to Ahmedabad, but definitely uh, the amount of fun that you make. It's going to be a memorable experience, and for I think all of you, it will be your last academic experience as well. So try to make most of it and have fun.
I think my last comment would be a little bit of combination of everything. It's 2 years. These 2 years are going to go like a whiff of air, and you will just keep on remembering कि क्या हो गया. And एक ये भी आता है ख्याल कि काश मैं ये कर लेता, काश मैं वो कर लेता. So before that thing happens, be prepared first of all. There are a lot of things to do before you get into this ecosystem, because once you get into this, so many things are going to happen that things are not going to be in your control at all. You are just doing this and that, you're just running from one place to another कि ये करना है वो करना है. उसी के बीच में you will introduce some more bhasad in your life as well. Now just to talk a little informal about that, कि classes भी चल रही होंगी, तुम्हारी रिक्रूटमेंट भी चल रही होगी, तुम्हारे केस कॉम्पिटिशन्स भी चल रहे होंगे, तुम्हारे सीएनसीज भी चल रहे होंगे, तुम्हें सोशल लाइफ भी मेंटेन करनी है, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ यू विल आल्सो फाइंड योर पार्टनर्स ओवर देयर हु विल डिमांड सम टाइम. ठीक है. एंड उसके आसपास यू ऑल्सो हैव टू देन यू विल हैव सम एक्सटर्नल कमिटमेंट्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ लाइव प्रोजेक्ट्स एज वेल, या बहुत सारी और सारी चीजें. तो इन सब के अंदर how to excel in one thing becomes a task, because if you're holding one thing in one hand, you cannot hold everything else in other hand, क्योंकि एक ना एक चीज नीचे गिरेगी ही गिरेगी. इससे बेटर है बी प्रिपेयर्ड बिफोर, बी प्रिपेयर्ड इन एडवांस, नो what could be your shortcomings up going ahead. If you are from a non-finance background, prepare finance. If you're not from a numerical or the stats background, prepare stats. If you're not from a commerce background, prepare marketing and economics. ये सारी चीजें पहले से प्रिपेयर कर लो, so that once you enter into the B school, at least एक चीज की प्रॉब्लम तुम्हारे दिमाग से हट जाएगी, and then you can focus upon the other things with proper core. वहां पे you will not have that, उसे क्या बोलते हैं, imposter syndrome, कि भाई मुझे कुछ नहीं आता और सबको सब कुछ आता है. So I guess this is where we are going to end our session. Just a little thing कि iQuanta is bringing up such a program कि जो लोग इस चीज को अवॉइड करना चाहते हैं कि आगे चल के ये वाली प्रॉब्लम ना हो, कि दे आर गेटिंग ओवरवेल्म्ड विद ऑल लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स व्हिच दे नेवर डिड बिफोर. फॉर एग्जांपल फाइनेंस, इकोनॉमिक्स, मार्केटिंग, एचआर, स्टैट्स, कुछ भी ऐसा हो गया जो आपने पहले कभी नहीं किया हुआ. You now know कि MBA में जाके you will not get time to actually grab a hold of those things. So iQuanta is going to help you out with these things before you enter your B school, before your mid June. ये सारी चीजें हम कवर कराएंगे, and you get to be a part of the ecosystem जहाँ पे मेरे जैसे, ऋषभ जैसे, मृदुल जैसे, कौस्तुभ, दित्या, आदेश, विपुल, सबके जैसे काफी और सारे mentors available हैं. Although this program is going to be of 2 months before you join MBA, but you get access to a community of IIM mentors for next 2 years. आगे चल के आपको अगर अपने रिज्यूमेस वेट कराने हैं, आपको करियर गाइडेंस चाहिए, आपको एसआईपी के अंदर प्रिपरेशन चाहिए, आपको केस कंपटीशन के लिए प्रिपरेशन चाहिए, वी ऑल आर हियर टू हेल्प यू आउट. सो टेक बेनिफिट ऑफ दिस प्रोग्राम, reach out to iQuanta, and let's get started by for cracking this MBA journey. ठीक है. So I would say thank you to everyone who took out their time. I know काफियों की FPs शुरू हो चुकी हैं, काफियों की SIPs चल रही हैं. Costa just came after direct from his office. So thanks a lot guys, and let's stay connected, and आगे चल के भी हम लोगों को ऐसे गाइड करते रहेंगे. ठीक है. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.